So welcome back to the channel. And the past couple of months, I have been insanely busy in the garage. I mean, it's been nuts. And what's going on is that because Windows 10 end of life thing is happening, a lot of customers and people have been reaching out to me asking, for options, what to do. There's still a lot of people out there that have i7 4th gens and 6th gens, which are really good systems, and even the AMD ones that don't have the support for Windows 11. They work perfectly fine, but if you don't have an operating system that's gonna have updates, security updates and support and all that type of stuff, then your system is pretty much useless. At least that's what they're telling you. I've been spending a lot of time these past couple of months doing some upgrades. The biggest one has been 4th gens to 8th gens, primarily because it is a cheaper option than going something newer. And then the other thing is doing the bypass so you can have Windows 11 on it. And the coolest one I've been doing is, and we've actually had a couple of customers, small little group, have been able to switch over to Linux and actually have been enjoying it. I've been using a lot of Linux Basite because a lot of my customers do gaming, so that has been beneficial for them. And for the ones that kind of just, browse the internet, check their email, all that type of stuff, Linux Mint. That's actually been another good one that a bunch of my customers have been enjoying. So I've been swamped with that. I'm actually booked out for the next 4 weeks, and I'm happy because number one, pays the bills, but kind of been bummed about it because I haven't been able to go out and do what I've been wanting to do, which number one, I love to go out, if you've been watching the channel, find used parts, bring them back, refurbish them, make a computer, make some flips. I enjoy doing that a lot more. And then number two, just finding weird, obscure parts that people are getting rid of that are cool and just doing a video on that. That stuff is fun, but right now, this other stuff pays the bills better, so that's kind of where my focus has been. So hopefully, things kind of calm down a little bit, we could get back into that. But for today's video, my computer's broken again. So let's talk about it. So this is the personal rig. This is the one that sits in the living room, and I love it when it works, that is. And I've had it for a year. So it's a 9950X. It's a MSI X670E, RTX 4080 Super, 64 gigs of G.Skill memory, M.2 storage. That's pretty much all I have in there. I don't think I have any SATA ones, but yeah, that's the rig, and it works fantastic. Even got a 1200 watt power supply and plenty of power. Definitely gets the job done. But the issue I'm having is, and I've actually had this issue for as long as I've built this computer, it's very unstable. Not blue screens, but it's just been doing weird things. So initially, when I first got it, I would get stuck in a boot loop, did a BIOS update, that fixed it. And what would happen is that every now and then my USBs would stop working, the Wi-Fi would go out, the Bluetooth would go out. And then the one that's been more frequent now is that I turn the computer on, I get no display. It could sit for 10, 20 minutes, no display. I have to turn the computer on and off several times and I still get no display. Well, I swapped out graphics cards, power supplies, all that type of stuff, and I still have the no display issue. But the really weird thing has been the USB thing and the Wi-Fi thing. Checked my settings. I actually made the CPU back because I actually thought it was the CPU at one point, got a new CPU and still having the same issue. Changed out the memory, M.2s, even tried a different power supply, and it's been worse lately. And it did do this initially when I first put this computer together, but I figured it was just the bugs working itself out. But even with the new BIOS update, it still hasn't gotten any better. So I've pretty much ruled out that it has to be the motherboard. And the reason why I haven't changed the motherboard sooner is because initially I had an issue with my cooling. The DarkRock Pro 4, no, this is the DarkRock Pro. This is the DarkRock Pro 5. This one was, I guess I had a manufacturing defect and it wasn't sitting properly, so the computer was overheating. I bought this Iceberg thermal cooler. It was a 240 AIO, popped it in there, and then that one, the pump went bad. Well, while I was waiting for that to get fixed or RMA'd, I had sent this one out and got it RMA'd. This one came back, popped it in, and the computer just runs, well, nice and cool. Doesn't run fantastic, but it runs nice and cool. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I haven't swapped it out, because I was thinking, well, maybe the computer's overheating. And then I went ahead and RMA'd the CPU because I was thinking maybe the CPU got damaged, but yeah, our motherboard has an issue, not sure what's going on with it. I've rolled back the BIOS, a lot of different things, but I'm done tinkering with it. I could RMA it. Well, I am gonna RMA it back, but considering that I don't wanna be without my computer for about 4 weeks, or at least this rig for 4 weeks. Went ahead and I got myself a different motherboard. And the flavor of the motherboard is the Asus TUF Gaming X870E Plus Wi-Fi 7. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there. This is the MSI, I think it's the MAG. I have to look. What is it? I still got the box. Nope, yeah. MSI MAG X670E Tomahawk Wi-Fi. So we're going from 670 to 870, more PCI lanes or whatever. Either way, I went back to Asus because for years I've always had Asus motherboards and I've never had one give me an issue. In fact, I still have, I think one of my brothers use it, has an X370 or 390, something like that, Strix board from Asus. I bought that brand new and that computer still runs fantastic to this day. I went with MSI because I wanted to try them out for a while, and years past when I started building computers, I did use MSI, but I was never a fan of their boards. I always seem to have little weird issues with it, and not trying to say Asus or MSI is better, but I switched to Asus and I've always enjoyed Asus. Now, I know a lot of people have their reservations about Asus and whatever, but they've always worked for me. I've never had an issue. I figure why not give them a shot. Plus, what I like using the TUF ones, I used to buy the Strix for years, but the Strix are really expensive because of the whole RGB and all those features that I really don't care about. The TUF is a little cheaper, pretty much has the same features, so why not? I picked this up at, well, I didn't pick it up. I ordered it from Amazon, came like the next day, and the price for this was $289. Little spicy, but it's better than, I think it was like $340 for the Strix one or $360 for the Strix one. So, but we got our Wi-Fi antenna, which I think is pretty cool because I think this is the magnet one. Yeah, magnet. So no more cheesy Velcro, which I've used for years. So that's cool. And actually, now that I think about this, this says Asus. And I think what it was these antennas. I don't know why I didn't use those antennas, but yeah, I use an Asus one. But back to the board. This thing is heavy, and I will say this is a lot heavier compared to that MSI board. SATA cable, stickers, you gotta have stickers. This I do like, you know, you got a manual, which is cool. Anything else worth noting? No, not really. Let's see, what is this? It's like little standoffs, M.2 rubber. Okay, guess your M.2 needs protection. Get it? But anyways, let's go ahead and open this up. Oh, I guess it is open. Bomber. And this is our board. Now the Strix one, you get that quick release lever for the PCIe, which is nice, and you get a keychain. That's a thing. Or I think you get that in the higher end Strix Hero models or anything like that. You get more RGB, but I mean, the board looks good. So now one thing I am going to do is I'm not going to be using this case. This is the Be Quiet case. I forget what model it is. I'll post it on the screen. I forget the numbers. It's a good case, but it's a bit tight for everything. And I like to have a little more room. As you can see, I mean, I got one finger in here for my graphics card. So that's a little tight. And working in here is tight. It's tight, needless to say on that. Not that I take my components out and swap stuff a lot, but I like to do maintenance on my computers, mostly dusting it out. And since having this huge graphics card and how tight it is over here, doing maintenance on this is not easy. So what I'm thinking about, which I'm probably gonna do, is use a case that I got a while ago. So let me show you what I'm thinking. So this is the Asus TUF GT501. I think I got it about 7 or 8 months ago, earlier this year, and it was free. A viewer reached out to me. He says, hey, I got a bunch of stuff I want to get rid of. Do you want it? Absolutely. I drove out, I think it was about a 2-hour drive, and I picked this up. So that was pretty cool. If you're watching this, thank you so much. And one thing he did ask was he was curious to see what I would do with this case. This case still goes for a pretty penny. It's a little old, but it sells for about $169. And I love this case. And one of the reasons why I haven't used this case is because it's big. It's a lot bigger than that one. And the wife wasn't a fan of it, and she's not home today. So when she gets home, surprise. But it'll be fine. And what I like about it, number one, it's a lot bigger, so it'd be a lot easier to clean, dust, manage, take out the graphics card. Like I said, I like to do maintenance on my computer, and a small case makes it inconvenience. This is the front, which I just think it looks pretty cool, like battle armor. It does have 3 120mm Asus Tough gaming fans. I'm not a huge fan of those fans, so I am gonna swap them out. Put a 360 up top, 360 over here. I'm not gonna be doing any AIOs or anything like that, primarily because I like air cooling. I like that Dark Rock Pro air cooler, or if I had an Oxford one, that's what I like to do. It just gives you better peace of mind and reliability. Not saying anything against water cooling, but I do like to stick to air cooling if I can, and that cooler works great. Now, what I am gonna do is I am gonna put 2 140s over here, a 140 over here, and 1 120 over here because, well, that's all I got for now. And I kind of want to stick to the same ecosystem. I'm not trying to break the bank buying stuff I don't need when I have stuff I can use. So let's show you the fans I got. So going through my stash, I have these Arctic fans, 140mm. These things are great. Move a ton of airflow, nice and quiet, and I got 3 of them, so I could put 2 in the front, because unfortunately in that case you can only put 2 of these the way they have it mounted. I'm sure I could drill and mount it and mod it and put 3 of these, but I don't think the return is going to be there. On the Be Quiet case, I do have a 120mm fan over there. I do have these which I can use, but they're not RGB, not that it matters. We'll see. I think this and that should be more than enough. So that's the plan. Stick to the same ecosystem and everything should work out perfect, ideally. So first thing we need to do is take this apart. We'll just kind of go through the highlights. As you can see, this graphics card is chungus. So this is my Strix 4080 Super. I did a video on this where I did get this for free. And I traded a whole bunch of stuff that I had gotten in, as far as like I buy computers or use parts, and whatever I don't use, I traded it into my local computer shop. Even got some rare stuff that I was able to get like practically for free. And they gave me about $500 worth of credit for stuff, like I said, it was free. Plus my 3090 Ti, I wound up selling that for $800. So this card was $900. I paid $400 out of pocket. I think I made like a $300 or $400 profit going with this upgrade. Yes, less VRAM, but honestly, I've been using this thing for a month or two, and this thing is fantastic when it comes to performance. So can't complain. So let's go ahead, slide this out. That way we have access to that. And we got a couple options to do this. And I think what I want to do is, because this has to come out, let's go ahead and take out our cooler. Now, typically when you're removing the graphics card, you have to kind of, put your hands in there and hit that little lever. I use a trim tool for automotive, and that works really good. But considering I need to swap out the CPU and cooler to my new board, let's get that out first. And this thing is really heavy. And that other case is going to be real heavy. Great. So this thing should just, if I remember correctly, this thing just pops out just like so. Yep. And there we go. And that gives us access to our 2 screws over here. And I always recommend just loosening them back and forth, because if you take one out, the other one's going to pop, and I think it could cause damage. So a little bit on both sides until you don't have that tension. Nice and safe. And I just realized something, and I'm kind of depressed about this now. I am out of PTM 7950. And that's a bad day for me. I love using that stuff. So we're gonna have to use thermal paste. Great. But it's all good. Let's get out this support bracket or stand. Take these 3 out. Let's hit this lever, which you really can't reach still. What in the world? Come on, I mean, what is holding me back? Okay. And I had to twist it this way. And there we go. Well, my Be Quiet case is in the graveyard. That's where all my cases go to sit when I either decide to use them for a random project, cheap computer flip, or just ones that I like to collect. Now, you might not be able to see them, but got a Lee NZXT, my P4, my P3, and there's nothing else there. So let's swap out the components from this motherboard to our new motherboard. I love the smell of new hardware. It's good stuff, folks. Good stuff. Only remove the expansion card from the end closest to the motherboard rear I/O ports. Okay. Tilt at an angle to release expansion card. Sure. Man, the sticker's on here good. Come on. Come on. There you go. And we'll just add that to my cabinets that have tons of other stickers. New sticker. Nice. Now, where to begin first? So I think what I need to do is probably strip the other one. So let's move this to the side. Take out our memory. And like I said, I did rule out that this memory was perfectly fine because I tried this memory on a couple of other rigs, changed the settings, and it still keeps doing the same thing. Let's go ahead and get this out. Let's wipe this off. I'm not sure you can reuse this PTM 7950 once you separate it. Maybe you can let me know in the comments. All right, now this, I need to take this AM5 contact sealing frame. I pretty much bought it because everybody else was. Is there improvements or anything like that? Doubtful. But everybody else was doing it, so why not? Am I going to use it on my new build? Well, my newer motherboard? Absolutely. Why not? All right, we're just going to leave that there because we got to create a new home. Now, let's go ahead and get this off. Let's see, is it you? Too big. Is it you? Too big. How about you? Still too big? This one. Perfect. Now we got to be nice and careful, nice and easy. Now let's pop in our CPU just like so. Matching up our Legend of Zelda triangles. Sweet. And let's pop you in. It's like a puzzle. It's the puzzle piece. Fits in. Very nice. Now it did come with a tool to install this, but I don't know what I did with it. Alright, that's nice and ready to go. Let's pop in our memory. Just like so. Oh yeah. Click. It's like a torque wrench. Click. Beautiful. Now we need to get our storage. See if we got a screwdriver that's going to fit there a little better. Smaller. Nice. So these are my, which one are these? These are my Crucial P3 Plus M.2 2280 2 terabytes. And one I use for my games and the other one I use for my video editing. Gets the job done. So that's always a good thing. This is the WD Black SN770, 1 terabyte. This is my boot drive. So that should be fine. Now I will say about this tough motherboard, at least the yellow is a little more subtle compared to other ones I've had. I mean, yeah, you got a little yellow here and around the back, but it doesn't pop out as much. So it shouldn't mess up my aesthetic. But at this point, I really don't care too much about the aesthetic. I just care about it working. All right, that's done. So let's go ahead. Let's move on to the case. So onto our case. And first thing we got to do is take out all these fans. Now, I'm sure they're good fans, but like I said, I'm not a fan of the look. They're not ARGB. I'm not big into the whole RGB thing, but I do kind of like the white light. Oh, and these are only 3 pins. So yeah, I definitely don't want that. Nothing against the 3-pin, but I like PWM. So I'm hoping these don't look too terrible. I really wish it kind of would have worked like that. And yes, I could drill a hole, but I think this is fine for now. Maybe in the future we'll get 3 120s, or I'll just leave this as is. This should get the job done. If I could get this in. Come on. You know, sometimes working on a computer, you need like 20 hands, or really small hands, just depending on what you're doing. Now, because this thing has been sitting in the garage for months, it's a little dusty, not terrible. So I'm just gonna go ahead and wipe this. World's best glass cleaner. And this stuff works for everything, so I like it. Now, I think this has to come off so you can put your power supply in. That's what I'm assuming, because I didn't see room in the back to slide it. Let me double check. Yeah, definitely no room in the back to slide it. And hopefully this, oh yeah, that's easy. This is plastic, what in the world? It's kind of lame. Give this a quick wipe. This is actually not too bad. Actually, it's not dusty at all. I think most of the dust actually just came from the fact that I couldn't get on top of there. But let's go ahead and slide all this goodness in there. Tons of goodness. All right. Our 4 screws. Now let's lift this thing up. And I can tell you what, that power supply is heavy because this thing already got some weight to it. And this should be set up in a perfect world already for this motherboard. Yep, A. Yep, I haven't seen that many A's ever, not even in school. And before I forget, because I almost did, let's remove you. And remove you. The peel. Whoops. Go back on there, little buddy. Let's go ahead and screw this in. Hopefully it's the same thread. Yep. So I can reuse all those other screws. Nice. And when I do this, I never tighten the screws until I get all of them in. And the reason why is sometimes you gotta wiggle it around. A screw might not line up. So if you're ever installing a motherboard and the screw holes are not lining up, make sure all the screws are loose, and then you can kind of wiggle it in. Now this is a first, at least for me. All these screws line up perfectly. And in cheaper cases, even that Be Quiet one, I will say that, you run into the issue that the screws don't line up unless you kind of move the motherboard, leave it loose, but I mean, everything's perfect. Good job, Asus. Holy moly, I need like a ladder because I cannot see these screws or the screw holes. Holy bananas, come on. And the fact that, you know, I can't be on the other side over there. Yep. And it's kind of a bummer because, well, here's the issue. This is plastic. I mean, it gets the job done. Plug you in. Make sure it's nice, secure, everything's good. No cables looking kind of weird. Mesh filter. I'm kind of bummed because I have a nick here and a nick here. That was me. This case was in perfect condition when I got it, but I somehow did that. Unfortunate. But hey, it works. Won't win any beauty contests, but you know. All right, so I'm gonna put the side panels in. I'm gonna bring this inside, install Windows 11. Yes, I know, even though Linux is pretty cool. Not ready to go full Linux yet on my main rig. On my ITX build, I'm running Linux on it, but get Windows 11, run it for a while, and see if I have those issues. Hopefully not. So we'll be back. Hey, dog. Here's a good doggy. Good doggy, doggy, doggy. What are you doing? Keeping tabs on things? Yeah, you're a good dog. So it is 2 days later, and the computer is running fantastic. I've had no hiccups, glitches, or anything. Windows installed smooth without any issues. And it's interesting because when I first started and I built that computer with the MSI board, I had issues from day one. I did update the BIOS and that kind of made things get better. And honestly, for about a year, I've been having these issues, but I've kind of ignored it. I kind of took it at one point that the computer was overheating and different things. And yeah, I'm glad this thing is up because using it right now is so much better. It's snappier, it's quicker, it runs a lot smoother. I had glitches with Windows where it would just kind of stutter and just randomly freeze. Never had any blue screens, but I had a lot of freezing, especially with the IO cutting in and out for the USBs, the Wi-Fi, the Bluetooth. And the most annoying one that's been happening the past couple of months has been that I turn the computer on and I get no video. It could sit for as long as it wants and it still gives me no video, and I have to turn it on and off several times and I finally get a video. And yeah, that's just been driving me crazy. Installation was smooth and I'm very happy to have this motherboard. As far as this case, I really like it. It works so much easier to work in, looks really nice. So definitely glad that I'm able to use it. The missus came home the other day, she looked at it and she goes, I guess it's not that bad. So, I mean, she's good with it, I'm good with it. That's all that really matters. So, got a ton more work to do because I have a bunch of customers lined up asking me to fix their computers, and it's just software stuff. And I do apologize for the lackluster content lately. Like I said, I've been swamped with it, and I'm not gonna do 100 videos on upgrading to Windows 11 and just computers dirty and overheating. Hopefully I could get back out on the field, start doing parts hunts, start picking up some cool hardware, doing mods and all the stuff. There's stuff that I originally started doing when I was doing the channel, and maybe I'll get a computer that comes in the garage that's actually pretty cool and interesting, so we'll see. So with all that being said, comment down below, let me know your thoughts, concerns, criticisms. Have you ever had issues with MSI motherboards? Do you prefer MSI or Asus, or what brand do you prefer to use for motherboards? And what suggestions do you recommend for diagnosing a faulty motherboard? If you like this video, definitely hit the like button, subscribe if you're not, and as always, we'll see what we come up with next.